I don't think I know what's harder, coming to the realization that you no longer love your partner, or trying to build up enough courage to actually tell them that. And today we've got 3 stories sent in by people who have done just that, and they wanted to share their story, so let's get into the first one. Leaving an arranged marriage after 24 years. Okay, so here's the thing. I grew up in the West, but my parents are from a culture where marriage isn't always about love. It's about duty to a degree. Appearances, family, community. So when they arranged my marriage, I didn't question it. I did what I was supposed to do. I married, I ran the house, I kept everybody happy, I raised my kids, I smiled, I pretended everything was perfect, and on the outside it was. Everybody thought I had it all together. The truth? The love was gone. It had been gone for years before I even realised it. I stayed for comfort, for the house, for the kids, for friends, for family who depended on me. I kept it all together. I was the glue. You didn't see the cracks. The kids didn't. My parents, they definitely didn't. And I thought if I kept everybody else happy, maybe I could ignore what I was missing. But then the kids left the house and it was just us, just him. And I realised how lonely I had been. Not sad exactly, just empty, like my life had paused while I did everything for everybody else. I wanted myself back, the woman I had hidden for decades, and that's when I knew I had to leave. The fallout, brutal. My parents basically disowned me. They wouldn't answer my calls, they refused to see me. They told everybody that I had betrayed the family. I get it, they were raised in a generation where a daughter leaving her marriage is unthinkable. But it still hurt. Every conversation with them felt like walking on glass, and trying to explain why I had to leave, why I couldn't keep living a lie, was impossible. The community's opinion mattered more to them than my happiness, and I couldn't fight that. The kids, they don't understand. They see their father devastated and think I gave up. Like I walked away casually, but that's not true. I kept everything together for them, but staying in something hollow isn't the lesson I want to give them. I want them to see that choosing yourself is brave, that life is messy and hard and doesn't always make sense, but pretending for appearances isn't the way to live. I hope eventually they'll get it. When they start dating, when they start making their own choices, I hope they see that leaving wasn't giving up. It was just trying to live honestly. Oh, what a way to kick us off. I can't even begin to imagine how hard that must have been. But I know it can't have been easy to kind of go against your role in the marriage and your family's expectations. It pains me that your parents basically disowned you, and I do hope that you haven't given up there and you're trying to rebuild that. I know it can be easy to kind of say, screw it, you know what, if the community and their friends and the way that people see them is more important to them than my happiness and my freedom, then I'm happy to go on this journey alone. But I do hope that you kind of break through that and try and reconnect with them. I'm sure at some point they will learn to understand. And like you said with your children, over time, I'm sure that they will come around to the situation. It must be difficult for them to see their father devastated and not understand why. But like you said, when they actually start to make their own choices in life, they will understand why you probably had to make this decision. And I hope that you're much happier for it now. And letter 2 is realising they weren't the one. Hey Jodie, so I was with this person for years. Everybody loved us. They were funny, smart, the kind of person people think is the one, and I thought I loved them. But somewhere along the way I started noticing things, little things at first. I didn't feel excited anymore. I didn't even feel annoyed really, just nothing. I tried to convince myself it was normal, but then I noticed I was making up excuses to not call, to not spend time with them. I caught myself thinking about other people in moments when I should have been thinking about them. And then it hit me. I wasn't in love. Not really. I liked them, I cared, but I wasn't in it. I was going through the motions. Leaving them was awful, because I loved the life we had built, the comfort, the routines, but the truth was, I was lying to both of us. I tried hinting at it, tried pretending it could work, but it wouldn't. I realised I'd been in love with the idea of them, not the actual person I was with. When I told them, they looked crushed. And I felt awful, of course. I still wonder if I'm a jerk for leaving, but I also can't ignore the truth. Staying would have been worse, for both of us really. It's been hard, and they tried reaching out for a long time after I left, but I finally had to build up the courage to just say, I can't do this anymore, and move on. And I hope that they have too. There's nothing like having to build up the courage to leave somebody that you know is still in love with you and can't understand why you did what you did. And so the guilt there must be immense. But like you said, staying wouldn't be fair for either you or them. You said you tried, you did everything that you could, but it just wasn't working. So I think that you're right, it was better off for both of you. And I hope you're both happier for it. And our last story is emotional affair, guilt towards the other person. Okay, so I've been with my partner for years. Like years. We have a house, routines, friends who think we're perfect, and I love them. I really do. But I started noticing that I didn't want to be here all the time. Not in a mean way, not screaming or fighting, just I didn't feel anything when I thought about them, and that confused me. Then this other person came along. At first it was just talking, late night messages, somebody who actually listened, who made me laugh at stupid stuff. Oh, I never like having to read lines like that, because I'm sure we can all resonate with, or at least understand how it feels to have somebody that, after all this time finds you interesting, finds you exciting, finds you funny. But when you take a step back, the life that you're showing them, or the person that you're showing them, and vice versa, is usually seen through rose-tinted glasses, and so it's not always the real story. And we can easily forget how much time and effort and work went into the current relationship and how long it's taken you to get to where you are. And yeah, maybe you don't have those kind of moments on the couch anymore where you're giggling at the most insignificant things, but what you do have is probably something a lot stronger. But I do understand 100% how easy it is to kind of forget that and get caught up in these fleeting moments of excitement when somebody new comes along. But it is really key to kind of just remember what you have worked towards, how hard you fought for what you currently have, and how hard they've probably worked at it as well. I told myself it was fine, totally fine, but it wasn't. Because suddenly I was waiting for messages, thinking about them when I should have been thinking about literally anybody else, even my partner. And the crazy part, the guilt I felt wasn't about being emotionally distant from my partner, it was about them, the other person. Because in my head, I'd made this whole life with them. I hadn't done anything real, nothing physical. But I had imagined dinners, trips, arguments, late nights, waking up next to them, all of it. And I felt like I was betraying them, even though they didn't even know me like that. It got worse. When I was with my partner, even just laying next to them, I was thinking about the other person. I kept imagining their reaction if they knew what I was feeling. And the guilt wasn't for cheating on my partner. It was for lying to the other person, for pretending my heart wasn't somewhere else, for keeping them in my head in this way. It was so confusing. I kept asking myself, who am I lying to? My partner? Them? Myself? It felt like I was in two places at once and failing everyone. I tried to stop, I tried to ignore it, but every message, every thought made it stronger. Eventually I realised I had to leave. Not because I stopped loving my partner, they still mean a lot to me, but because I couldn't live like this. I couldn't keep building this imaginary life and pretending it didn't exist. I had to stop hurting everyone, including myself, and the only way was to leave. It's really confusing, and I feel like a terrible person, but also just human. And honestly, I don't know if I'll ever fully untangle it, but I had to do it for everybody. I don't think I've ever read anything that kind of touches on the guilt that you feel for the other person and not your partner. So like you said, you were doing things with your partner and actually feel guilt towards the person that you had made up this life with. I cannot even begin to imagine how confusing that must be, because like you said, they didn't even really know that you felt that way about them. I hope that for you, you feel like you did the right thing here, and I really thank you for sharing that with us. And as always, guys, if you've got a story to tell, I will leave a link in how to get that story across. I always love reading through them, and if I do get to read them, I hope it helps a little bit to hear it out loud. And I'll see you next time. Thanks everyone, bye!